Welcome back to the program. Today we're talking about one of the most popular comedies from the late thousands, and that movie is... What is going on? Now, I think this is regarded as like top 3 comedy of that decade. This came out in 09, I think, or 08.
2009.
2009. And I think it's regarded probably as... Well, here's the thing, and this is going to be a lot of what I want to talk about, is like, I can't tell if this is regarded as an all-time great comedy or not, and if it's not, I think it's because the sequels... Did the sequels ruin the original? It's kind of like my thought process with The Hangover 12 years later. I don't know if you've seen the sequels. We'll never talk about them, so we got to throw them kind of in this conversation because they're just shit movies. But this is such a good original idea. It's relatable. Well, not to the extent, but it's relatable in that everyone's had a hangover. So it's already funny there. The casting was great. Zach Galifianakis was hilarious. Ed Helmes is kind of a straight man. Bradley Cooper is kind of a douche. Skadoosh. Which, talk about typecast as an asshole. They work such great. They do so well as a team. Ken Jeong is hilarious in his bit role. It's such a funny movie. And then they recycle the plot 2 more times after this as a cash grab.
Yeah, for sure. Like, first off, I thought this was the mid-2000s. I was totally shocked when I saw that it was 2009, because I just associated it with, like,
the movies from the
just
mid-2000s.
after college, like,
yeah.
For whatever reason, but apparently not. I mean, it's such a unique and original movie that they had to make it 2 more times. Like, that, and ruin it, of course, right?
Yeah.
Like, because it's just, all the other 2 movies are just rehashing in different
plot.
Scenes, different scenarios or like scenic areas, like just rehashing what has already been done, which is a shame, right? But like, I feel like the other thing that kind of, it doesn't spoil it for me, but like, it makes me think about it, is that like, when this movie came out, then everybody tried to recreate this movie for their bachelor parties, right? Like, and this movie came out at the time just after, so it came out after I got married. And at that point, we've already had a couple of bachelor parties that we had done for people that got married before me. But there were also those that got married just after. So it was kind of like in that time frame for me of like bachelor parties and what a bachelor party should be and like what are you gonna do, how, like that type of thing, right? And thankfully, it was after we planned a bachelor party for my buddy to Vegas. It was a couple of years after the fact, because I feel like it's probably totally intolerable to be in Las Vegas since this movie has come out, because it's like, hey, it's the Hangover, it's the you know, like, and they ham that up just like they ham up the whole thing of the like, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, which is,
this is my wolf pack or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to imagine that there are like gift shops all up and down the strip with all the like stupid, like the baby t-shirts and the sunglasses and the, you know, whatever.
Yeah, everyone wants to have a tiger at their bachelor party now.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's, I think that movie had that impact really, like, right away on culture.
Yeah.
It was pretty quotable for a while after. I had a friend that was Zach Galifianakis with the baby for Halloween, which is kind of a hilarious costume.
Yeah.
Like, it was really quotable for a while, and like back to the sequels thing, I kind of wonder, maybe because it's still fresh, because like Major League isn't ruined by Major League 2 and Major League 3 for me, even those are terrible movies.
Yeah.
But I think that societal impact of it being quotable was diminished because they came out with Hangover 2 and Hangover 3.
I think that some of the quotes that were so quotable come from Ken Jeong's character, and you probably can't get away with saying some of them.
That's true.
You know? Because, I mean, look, his character, as you said, like, he was perfectly cast in this. Dr. Ken Jeong.
I know.
Dr.
Amazing,
Ken
right?
Jeong, who started a whole second career after being a doctor of becoming an actor and blew up. Like, him in this movie, like, that started his trajectory. But I also, like, mentioned, too, like, look, I really appreciated his stand-up comedy, but Zach Galifianakis, before this movie was like
People didn't know who
nothing.
he
It was
was.
like
Yeah.
character actor or like background actor or something like that. Like he was in a bunch of other movies too before this, but I knew him from his comedy and like his stand-up comedy, and he'd do the piano bit.
Very irreverent.
You know,
yeah.
like the piano bit even before like Bo Burnham and like some of these other, again, talk about like we've talked about before with like like comedians following what other comedians have done and like kind of growing on that, you know, and developing their spiel from that. But like Zach Galifianakis, like thinking about his comedies where he's sitting there, he's playing the piano and he's talking, like he's telling the jokes instead of the singing of the jokes like Bo Burnham has done, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like how this movie just catapulted him.
Oh, he's huge because he's so funny in the movie. Like,
Yeah.
Most of the comedy is coming from him, besides like the other like Ken Jeong and like
Yeah.
some other situational things is coming from him. And this is like really when he blew up, and he blew up fast in this movie.
Yeah.
I think it's the same year, 2009. He was in Up in the Air, George Clooney movie. I'm pretty sure that was 2009 also, and he had like a really small role. I remember watching that movie recently and thinking, because I love that movie, thinking like, well, how is he such a bit part? And it's like, oh, he's filming both these at the same time. No one knew he was going to blow up from Superbad, or sorry, from The Hangover.
Wow, you have a hangover? Is that
Well, yeah.
mentioning Superbad? I think it's funny because his casting was so perfect, but they had other people that they wanted for this movie. They wanted Jack Black for this role.
It I mean, it would have been worse, but
It would have been a
makes sense.
totally different movie
Yeah.
if it's Jack Black instead of Zach Galifianakis. And they also brought in Jake Gyllenhaal for this role,
Too handsome.
and they brought in Jonah Hill for this role,
Makes sense.
which makes sense.
And he had just blown up from Superbad
Yeah.
in 07.
And the one that blows my mind, because it makes this a completely different movie, they wanted to bring in Thomas Hayden Church
That doesn't
for
make
this
sense to
role,
me either.
which makes no sense because all that does is that this turns this into Sideways 2,
Yeah. But
which was also about a bachelor party, although
Right,
a
right,
bachelor
right.
party drinking wine in
Much
Napa Valley.
tamer, yeah.
A very different bachelor party.
Gyllenhaal also doesn't make sense to me, but I'm wondering if that's like, because they wanted Zach's character to be nerdy and kind of like a loser, and he doesn't necessarily need to be like kind of like a chubby
Fat
like-
loser.
Yeah, like that's just extra. So like you're kind of getting that with Jonah Hill probably could have pulled it off. So I wonder if they're gonna make Jake Gyllenhaal just like a total nerd that like his father-in-law or his father like does not trust with the
Yeah.
car and everything.
Yeah.
Like he could have made him like dork, but it's so much better that he's like kind of a chubby guy who wears
Yeah.
a shirt with wolves on it.
Right. And I mean, like, but they did a fantastic job with the casting to the point of Heather Graham as a stripper, like, spot on.
Yeah.
No offense, but like, that was spot on casting. And they had other people that they wanted. They wanted Lindsay Lohan for that role.
That would work,
And
I
she
guess.
says that she regrets turning it down. Like, she turned it down, apparently, and she regrets it. And why would you not regret it? Because what has her career done since then?
Right.
I mean, it's not been good.
Right. Ed Helms' wife, perfect. And any movie that's gonna, a comedy especially, that's gonna knock it out of the park like this has to have perfect casting.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge part of why it succeeded was like everybody is perfect.
Yeah.
And in particular that group that the movie centers around, they just work so well together, and they're all different.
So perfect, in fact, that the scene with Ed Helms and the tooth, Ed Helms actually has a fake tooth, so they didn't have to like use
I didn't know
any prosthetics or anything like that. He just pulled out his
Oh,
fake
wow,
tooth.
I did not know
He has a
that.
fake tooth, so in real life.
Also, the Mike Tyson cameo I think was like I didn't think it's that funny. But that was a big like quotable thing or like thing to reference.
I mean, the cameo, whatever, you could take or leave. I think it sets it up for the in the air
In the
tonight,
Air Tonight, yeah.
joke,
Yeah.
right? Like the one joke. Everything else is just kind of, meh.
Right.
Like, yes, Mike Tyson has tigers in real life.
Right.
Okay, great. But like everything else is just kind of meh.
They
but
brought-
for that one joke with Mike Tyson throwing a punch, right? Like that's.
They bring him back either in Hangover 2 or Hangover 3, or it might even be both.
So
too.
Mike Tyson actually did this movie and accepted this role just to fuel his cocaine habit. He has since being on this movie, like he supposedly is off the powder, but that's why he did this. But yeah, I mean, I could have done without that.
Yeah,
like,
I think it is the in the air tonight joke, but it's like, yeah, it's a whatever. It's a whatever cameo. The tiger in the bathroom, though, it was and is hilarious.
yeah.
One device that I really like in this movie, and I don't even know how to like assign a name to it, but the fact that they set this up with, you think the main character is going to be the dude who's getting married, and the first 20 minutes,
Yeah.
like, you're under this impression that, like, he's a straight man, like, it's going to follow him, and then he disappears for the next 60
Basically,
minutes.
the entire movie.
And he's not really in the movie. I feel like that does something to your brain where you feel like you're kind of searching for him also.
Yeah.
And I think that's really actually smart. Like, we talk about a lot of movies that we consider at its core to be kind of silly and dumb, but, like, I think that's actually really smart writing, because I feel like you're also looking for the guy. Because
Well,
you were introduced to him, and you feel
Yeah.
you're going to go on this journey with him, and all of a sudden, like, he's gone. Like, all right, I'm invested in this too.
Well, so this is based off of the writer's like real life bachelor party, where
That's bananas.
somebody got really drunk and disappeared and woke up in a strip club and had no idea where they were and were being
Well, that
extorted
happens to
for
the
like
best of us.
well, for sure, you know, especially the part about being extorted for hundreds of thousands of dollars or something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, they did a fantastic job, and I just hate how Hollywood, like, they milk it dry until there's nothing left, right? Now, I'm sure that Hangover 2 and Hangover 3 both got a lot of money.
Especially, I'm sure the second one in particular.
Yeah.
People might have wised up by the third one, but
Yeah.
they probably both did, yeah.
But it's because, you know, like, it's all of the little things, like like at the end, right, where they have the camera roll as the credits are rolling, and
Yeah.
they show like all the like pictures that were taken during the bachelor party, or they show the pictures that were taken during the bachelor party. Like, it just works, and it's funny, and it's ridiculous. I mean, like, you see some of the pictures, and God damn it. Yeah, so it's just it works perfectly, and again, I hate Hollywood for ruining movies by just like keep going and telling the same jokes over and over and
Yeah.
over again.
As you go to the original question that I posed, does it hurt the first one? I actually, even just in talking about it now, I think my answer kind of is yes. As somebody that went through, like, saw The Hangover in theaters, went and saw I think I saw the second one on like a pay-per-view or something, but like saw the second one, didn't even bother with the third one, but kind of saw this all develop like culturally. Like, if you were too young when The Hangover came out, maybe you can rewatch this movie or watch this movie now once you become of age to appreciate it and just see that and be like, that's an all-time great comedy. Because it is. I think it's like
Yeah.
a brilliant movie. But going through the whole like cultural thing of it from start to where we are now, I think 2 and 3 do kind of hurt it, because I don't even I think it's a great movie, standalone movie, and I don't rewatch it that much.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I can just try to ignore 2 and 3. Like, I try to ignore Star Wars Episode 7, 8, and 9. Like, they didn't happen. I don't know what people are talking about. Those movies don't exist. But I can't do, for some reason, like, after seeing Hangover 2, it did ruin Hangover.
But you're fine with 1, 2, and 3, right?
Comparatively, maybe that was the whole strategy, was to appreciate 1, 2, and 3 more, because 7, 8, and 9 were such dog shit.
It's because you're all about Jar Jar Binks. That's
Well, yeah, Jar Jar Binks was more compelling than anybody in 7, 8, and 9. More compelling than anybody in Hangover 2 or 3, too.
Jar Jar Binks is actually a Sith, in case you're wondering, and so like
Yeah,
he's actually
exactly.
like he's not bumbling and stumbling and like oh, look at that guy, he's so goofy. Like, he's undermining everything because
Yes.
he's a
And that's
Sith
why,
spy. So
The Phantom Menace is a compelling movie and more compelling than Hangover 2.
yeah,
And I don't know why I don't know why that diminishes the one movie for me, but I have a hard time rewatching it for some reason.
yeah. I mean, it's not one that I go back to. Like, there are some movies that I watch like repeatedly. This is not one of them, which is kind of a shame, right? Because it is such a good movie, and I kind of agree. Like, knowing that the other ones exist and that they just did the same jokes over and over again to just for money, like, that kind of bothered me. Yeah.
Yeah, and it might also just be the movie itself. It's like that journey that I mentioned of you feel like you're invested in finding the dude. maybe that's just not a rewatchable thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it just gets old after a while. I've seen it probably 5 times.
Because
but-
you know what's going to happen now.
Exactly, yeah. So it's not as interesting. So maybe that's part of it too. But on Between Two Ferns, which is Zach Galifianakis' mock talk show, which is hilarious, Jerry Seinfeld was on, and Jerry brought up this point. He was like,
Do you think that you destroyed what would have been a comedy classic by the cash grab of 2 and 3?
and Zach, because he's playing a character on that show, said,
My Aunt Deborah needed a baboon heart transplant. That's why I did Hangover 2. My Uncle Dickie, his yacht club burned down. That's why I did Hangover 3. It's to save my uncle's yacht club.
which is a brilliant remark, but I'd love to actually hear Zach's answer to that.
Yeah.
I'm sure like all money is green. He probably doesn't care.
Yeah.
But
That's all I got for this one. I don't know if it, I mean, like it holds, some of it holds up, but it only holds up insofar as like keeping in mind it's about a bachelor party.
yeah.
Like if you know that it's about a bachelor party and you know that keeping that in mind, then yeah, it kind of holds up because not everybody with their bachelor parties, but a lot of people are trying to be like have debauchery and like craziness and whatever. It's not about that for a lot of people, but for a certain segment of the population, it is. And so it
Hangover
holds
still
up.
exists. I'm
Yeah.
drunk right now, but yeah.
How you're drunk now, but you have the hangover, or are
No,
you just
it's coming.
anticipating?
It's coming.
Okay, you're just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
anticipating. Okay.
Do you have a score?
This one's tough, right? Because of a lot of the things that we've talked about, but I think it's pretty high.
I think so too.
I think that this is probably 7-4.
Oh, you stole my number. I was gonna go 7.
I mean, you can still go 7-4.
I'm gonna be an asshole and go 7-5.
7-7.
Oh, Jesus.
Whoa, that's really high.
See, yeah, I mean, that's higher than I would have thought it would have been.
All right.
Okay.
Guess it is good.
Apparently, they don't care enough about Hangover 2 and 3. Or they don't hold it against it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.